everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Katarina. I'm a marketing specialist at Unitfly, and I wanted to welcome you all to this webinar. So today's topic is regarding the M-Files integration with external systems using HTTP. And today's presenter is Alan DeBiaggi. He's our COO and product owner of Extension Kit. He will demonstrate how to do the integration with external systems using Extension Kit and Logic Apps. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, so we will send you the recording after the event. And also, there is a chat on your right side probably, and you can ask your questions during the presentation, and we will have a designated time at the end of the webinar to answer all your questions. I hope you will enjoy it. And yeah, that's it. So Alan, take it away.
Thank you, Katarina. Hi, my name is Alan. As Katarina already mentioned, I'm COO and I'm a product owner for the Extension Kit. Today's topic is how to integrate M files with external system using HTTP. First, I will quickly go through Extension Kit updates. Then we'll cover the HTTP module. We will cover SOAP example and REST example. And then I'll tell something about Azure Logic Apps, and then we'll also have the example how we can call Azure Logic Apps from Extension Kit. So let's start. In the last few months, our features were mostly around HTTP, and we added a lot of different different feature that we can cover with HTTP. One of these is multi-part HTTP response, which is really a nice feature. Also, the one thing that is good to mention is that we added schedule rules without the source in the extension methods and SQL integration. That means now that you can use Extension Kit as ETL tool, but that will be also covered in one of the next seminars. For our future release, which is 4.64.0, we are mostly working around Excel integration. We had a few cases where we used the Excel as a front end, and because everybody loves Excel and they're familiar with it, so it's really nice and easy way how you can use Excel as a front end. Also, we will cover that in one of our future webinars. In our last webinar, we covered the SOAP and REST web service. Just quickly go through. So the SOAP is a messaging protocol that uses XML, and REST is the architectural style. Both of these APIs can be called with HTTP module in the Extension Kit, and with the HTTP module you can have get, post, put, and delete actions. Also, you can update objects in the M files, and you can also save files that you receive from the response. That's also something that is shown on our last webinar. So let's go through the examples. Our first step here is Postman. Postman is application that we are using for calling web services. And what is really important to know that if something is working in Postman, it has to work in the Extension Kit. So the configuration is basically one-on-one. Okay, first let's start with SOAP web service. So we have some SOAP web service here. This is our URL. We will provide post action. And also what is here important to mention, the content type here is text XML. And that's also something that we are putting in the body. So in the SOAP, we are usually calling everything. When we are calling, we are putting all these things in a body. So uh, this SOAP will provide us with capital of the country that we send to this request. So this is our request. And when we call that request, the response is also HTML, and it will return the capital of that country. So what we want to do, we want to do the same thing in the extension kit. What is also good to mention here, there is no authorization. Sometimes authorization in a SOAP is done in the headers. Usually it is done in a body, but it's also as a header element here. So this is the way that you will call, for example, SAP SOAP service. You will add user and password in the body. Okay, so let's do exact same thing in the extension kit. So we are now in the extension kit. This is our SOAP example. I have demo object for this webinar. So when demo objects gets into SOAP state, it will call the SOAP web service. And these are our HTTP settings. So as you can see, the URL is the same and in the Postman. The method and the action is the same. So the post. What is important here that we have put the content type, because by default we are not handling that. If it's text XML, you need to add that content type here, and usually it will not work if you don't add that content type here. You have body type like XML, and you just copy paste that body here. So what we have done here, we have URL, we have method, we have header, we have body, and that's it. So it is the same thing as we have it here. We have URL, we have action, we have header, and we have body. So it's the same thing. What is different is why I wanted to show you how you will do that. You will add some kind of body variable here. So our body variable is country. And then if is on the mode advanced, you will have body variables here. And our body variable is country. So in this way, whenever some objects gets in that state, it doesn't matter which property it has. So you will have country property, for example. And if it's US, it will provide you, it will save you capital. If it's, I don't know, Croatia, Mexico, and stuff like that, it will provide you different countries. So this is how you will dynamically call this SOAP service. So this is our country, and the value for this example is static, and I put just text US, so that this can be the same as in the Postman, but you can use it like dynamic, and then you can add property and add country property, for example. Okay, so I have added a variable here, so that will be more mFiles-like, and we want to save a response to the mFiles. So I have this cd plain text in this demo object type. So there is also a feature that you can map different values on different scenarios. So on success, you can map one property. On error, you can map a different property. Here we will say always. There is something that we are now supporting is multi-part response, but we are not having that here. So our response transformation is expat. Expat is used for XML. And here is expat expression. So usually when we want some expression we would use, we will usually ask Antonia, who is expert in this, if we use XPath or JSONPath. But now you can just use ChatGPT, who is really good at it. You can just ask, could you write me XPath expression from this in response for country ISO code, and it will write you in 99% really good XPath expression, which you can test on different online services. So this is our XPath expression that will provide us with result of this element here in our response. A result doesn't matter, it can be other or text. It's a simple value because we are just mapping text to this property, which is a textual property. And that's basically it. So let's test that SOAP service. So let's create a new demo vault. SOAP and REST demo. And our first state is SOAP, so immediately it will call web service. So I'll create it, go to the recent SOAP and REST demo, and here is our Washington. And that's it. That's really all that you need to know if you want to call web service and if you want to save some response from that web service. You can also, as I said, some kind of body variable so that it can be dynamic, and that's it. So let's move to the REST web service. So this is our REST web service. We are calling for some kind of book information. So when we call this web service with these parameters here, query parameters, it will respond with more information about that book. So here we have get method. We have this URL. So if I exclude these parameters, you can see this is the URL, and these are the parameters, query parameters. So you can write some kind of query, and when you add that, you will have this response. What we want to do here is we want to add this key from this response. Here also we don't have any authorization. Headers are usual. We don't have any different content type here, so we don't have to do that. We don't have any body. So we just have URL and query parameters here. Okay, so let's do the exact same thing in the files. So this is our REST example. Trigger source is the same, but it will be triggered when it's in the state REST. And the HTTP settings are here. So we have URL, we have messages get, and what we have here are the query parameters. So this is the name of query parameter. Value type is the expression. You can have it also dynamically from the expression or from the property. And here I just put it some kind of text here. And the same is for format. We don't have any headers, but what we want to do, we want to save that ID, book ID, to some kind of property. So we have save property, the same as we have in SOAP. But here we are using JSON path. We are not using XPath because our result is JSON, and we want to use JSON path to extract information. Same stuff here as ChatGPT or some service, and this will extract this information from it. And we will save that to item name. This item name, we will use it here. Okay, so this is our example. Let's try it. We can use the same object. We will just move it to another state. I will click save. And what we have here is response from the REST web service. So I can go once again for the rest. It's pretty simple. Trigger, it can be any trigger, and this is our REST API, this URL. We provide get method. For a get method, we are adding some kind of query parameters. We can call it, if you don't have any query parameters, you can call it without query parameters, but then you wouldn't know for which object you are asking. So this can be dynamically. So we will just pass dynamically property from the object type in the env files. And then on that same object, we will save the response. And that's it. What is maybe important to mention here, set properties and files on source object. So we are saving on the same object that is also a trigger source. So we are saving it here. The same thing is in the SOAP, but you can also save it to some other related or not related object type. Okay. The next thing is, I will quickly tell you about Azure Logic Apps. Is cloud integration platform. It's on Microsoft Azure. It's low code, no code, which means that you can use it 90% without using any code. And it has over 400 connectors, and that's, as you will see, that's awesome, because you don't need to know anything about different APIs from different services. It will provide you connectors, it will provide you actions, and what you need to know is basic JSON and API knowledge, and that's it. And also you can use it as pay-as-you-go service. There can be also, they have monthly fee, but it's always, if you don't have a situation when you need to have provided service, then you can just use it pay as you go, because you will pay as you use it, and it's really, really cheap and affordable. Also, it has their own enterprise section for business to business. And usually what Microsoft is focused now is to move all the features that Microsoft Microsoft Server have, and which is the most powerful integration engine from Microsoft. And it's really enterprise, and it's widely used for different enterprises. And they're just moving features so that you can easily migrate from on premises where you use Microsoft Server to cloud. And Azure Logic Apps are, I think, 90%. It can cover 90% use cases that Microsoft Server can't. So it's really powerful, not just for this kind of situation, but also for enterprise applications. Okay, so let's go to the Microsoft Azure. What we will do here, this is our Logic app. We will use it, we will send contact information from the env files, and we will save that contact to Office 365 account. So how this looks here is, and how Logic Apps are working, almost similar as Extension Kit. So you have trigger and you have action. That's the basic part. So here the trigger is when HTTP request is received. So when some kind of request comes here, it will trigger an action. And our action here is create a contact. What we are sending here is we are sending um, contact information, contact name, contact phone, and contact email. And this is the schema. You can easily create that schema. You can just paste the JSON that you want, and then you can use everything from that JSON here. And there are a lot of different actions here. So for example, I can add a new action if you want to, I don't know, send an SMS from the M files. Then you can also use the same method. You will send all the information to this service, and then you can send it via any service that you want, for example, Azure Communication Service, and you will just enter the name and use what you've sent to this HTTP request, or you want to integrate with, I don't know, Salesforce. You can use Salesforce Connector, and then you can use Salesforce, and there are a lot of actions. You can create a job, create a record, delete a job, execute a kind of query, and so on. So you can create a record. Then also the same, log in to Salesforce, sign in, and then you have a lot of different options that you want. Okay, and this is the orchestrator. You can orchestrate all these things. You can add forking, you can add conditions, and so on. So it's pretty cool and pretty simple to use, and you don't need to know anything regarding. You don't need to know any kind of program language. You don't need to program anything. You just click it like in Extension Kit. Okay, so this is our example. When HTTP request is received, we will connect to service account, and we will put in folder contacts, contact name, contact phone, and contact email. And that's it. So if we go to the Extension Kit, we have one rule. This is our Office 365 create contact. Our trigger is object type person, class contact, verb contact, and when it's in a state new contact, it will send information to Azure Logic App. So this is a little different scenario. For the rest, we have this URL. This URL is the same as here. So this is our URL. It will be automatically generated by this connector. The method is post. We will send information. There is nothing in the headers, but we have this JSON body. It's a little bit different because we have these parameters here, variables. And these variables are from the M files. So if we go to the person, contact, we have display name, we have email address, and we have mobile phone. And that's something that we are sending here. So for contact name, we are sending display name, as you can see. So contact name, it's a text, it's a dynamic, it's a property, it's a display name. The contact phone, same thing. Contact phone, property, mobile number, and contact email is email address from here. Parameter value, email address. And that's it. We are not saving anything. We are not interested in a response. We will just send it here and hopefully see that in context. Okay, so this is our context. Here we have two contacts. We have Philip and Petara, and let's create a new one. So the person is a contact. First name, it can be Azure, demo. Let's edit. Unitfly is Azure at mobile number. Let's say it also telephone number, and that's it for our contact. And when we put it in a statement contact, it will send all the information to Logic App. So I created one, okay. And if we go to the Logic App and click refresh, we can see that we have successfully that we have a job that is successfully ended. So if we open that job, we can see that everything passed really quickly. We can also see what we got here. So if we see the raw input here, okay, and we can see the output of this connector. So output is contact email, contact name, and contact phone. And what we've added here, the same thing. We have it phone, we have email address, and that's it. So if you check here, we added that, like here, home phone, email addresses, and that's it. You can see how this is connected. Okay, and let's check our contacts, and it's here. So we have successfully saved that to our contact. Okay, and let's quickly go once more. So what we've done here is we put the URL, we send some body, JSON body, and you can put anything here, and you can all the information that you need for some kind of connector, some kind of web service. And it's really simple way how you can integrate M files with over 400 different services without any knowledge of that API or programming skills and so on. If you need more information about Logic Apps or you want to talk about it, you can send us an email. We can talk. If you'll be on partner conference, we can talk on partner conference. Just contact us. Also, there is one thing I want to mention from today. The Demo Vault is available, and Demo Vault is something that you've been seeing on all these webinars with all these examples. We have example for every module. For some modules, we have more examples. These three examples that I'm showing you are also in Demo Vault, so you can test it, but without Logic App part. But you will have the rule will be there, but it will remove URL because you don't have the access to that Logic App. But you can create your own in your Azure. And that's it. If you have any questions regarding REST, so Logic App, extension kits, HTTP module, just ask.